to If Testimony Was a Person, the Help to Adjust Incorporated podcast, where we discuss issues of equity and inclusion, and we talk to professionals of all kinds about their journey. And today, you might say it's a variation from what we normally do because today's guests, first of all, there's two, Victoria and Gloria Guerrier. And these young ladies are on the pathway to success. The valedictorian and salutatorian of West Hempstead High School. Two young ladies who really work hard. Obviously, you worked hard in order to get where you are now, and still deal with adversity. And we're going to discuss all of that in today's podcast. Welcome, Victoria and Gloria.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It is my pleasure. Young people are a passion of mine. I've been an educator. Before becoming a licensed mental health counselor, I was an educator for many years on a high school level. And what you have achieved takes a lot of work. So take me back to your childhood. Where were you guys born and raised?
Yeah, so we were born in Rockville Center, actually, right next door at Mercy Hospital. I was born earlier, 45 minutes earlier. I'm older. And we grew up in West Hempstead all of our lives. We went to preschool in West Hempstead. We took dance classes. We took gymnastics. It was really, we grew up here. And yeah, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say West Hempstead, as a community, we really were able to make a mark here. Being here all our lives, it's almost as if gave us an incentive to just give back. And we're such a community kind of person. We love our library. We love all the local shops here. So we're very local.
So now all of those activities that you talked about, Gloria, I mean, were these all school-based or community-based also?
Yeah, so my mother actually wanted us to be athletic, if you will say. We always had a side to us that we were kind of more athletic and, what would you say, like more...
Active,
Yeah, active than our other sisters. And she saw that and she wanted to put us in all these activities. At one point, I was doing 3 at once. I was doing swimming, tennis, and gymnastics. I loved them all. I loved everything. But
PAL or only in school?
PAL, like it was club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Wonderful. And so being active has been a characteristic of you guys for some time.
Yes.
And Mom was able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great. And so what's your favorite? What's your favorites in terms of the activities that you've done over time?
So I would say I really enjoyed gymnastics when I was younger. It was a sport that I was natural at. When I was doing it, I felt very free expressing myself through my movements. And I maybe could have went very far. My mom always jokes that I could have been the next Gabby Douglas or something. Because we were just so vehement about gymnastics. But once my mom couldn't afford it, around 11 years old, we left that alone and we started doing more sports in our school. We did everything, I think. We did like soccer, lacrosse, volleyball. We were doing everything in middle school, just getting out our activities. But then we focused on track in 9th grade, which is pretty late for track athletes, they say, but we went to do track because my older sister, she was like this big track star too. Like the coaches loved her and she recruited us as like her little sisters, the twins who may be fast. And we were on the track team starting in 9th grade. We did winter track. And at first I didn't really like it. I have to be honest. Gloria actually started off in basketball. So
Oh, yeah, that was a whole story.
Oh.
I was doing basketball and she was doing track. We were separated for once. And I hated it. The coach was I didn't like his
Demanding.
coaching style. The basketball coach.
Was that demanding? How was he?
I feel that he wasn't coaching me per se. He was not focusing on the new players because I was new to basketball, and he just focused on those who did club for all their lives.
I see.
And he still didn't know my name. I went to ask him a question, and he called me she. Like he didn't know my name, and it was frustrating that I couldn't get the help I needed. So I left and went to track.
And I kind of pulled her along. It was a funny story how we got started because I did track to get better at lacrosse for the spring. And my older sister she was the team leader, team captain. She was like this big track star. And me and her were in her shadow, actually. But then, one practice, I was doing my thing. It was like 100, 200, 300, 300, 200, 100, like a ladder.
Yeah.
And the coaches noticed that I was in front for every single rep. And I didn't even notice either. I was just going. And it was funny because from that point on, my first race, I was winning and these really good times. And then my coaches kind of shifted their attention from my older sister to us.
Mm-hmm.
And they were vehemently telling us, guys, you should stay in track. Don't do lacrosse in the spring. And that's how we got started. We were persuaded to do track because of our natural talent in it. And I'm glad that we stayed instead of going to lacrosse.
Yeah, I remember you guys talking about track when I first talked to you.
Yes.
So, I mean, by the way, backtracking a little bit, your mom was not joking when she said you could be the next Gabby Douglas,
Maybe she wasn't.
Yeah, she was not.
I mean, and it really is possible, but it does go to show that, when you are involved in anything that you love, the access makes a difference because you mentioned that money made it so that it was difficult to stay with gymnastics. And thankfully, it's no tragedy because you guys kind of found your way in track, and that was really sounds like that's your love, right?
Yes.
Give me a little bit more about that. Like what kind of monies were needed, let's say, like what kind of things did you have to buy, for instance?
So gymnastics was a very expensive sport.
Very expensive.
Since there's so many different disciplines in gymnastics, you needed the chalk on your hands, you needed the leotard, and then per month there was a fee to be in the gym. I think it was $1,500 each, was it?
$1,500 each for gym
It was each
fees?
season, actually. So it was even worse because you had to pay per season, and a season is 3 months.
Yeah, there's 3 seasons in a year, so that's...
This is an education. I had no idea. And what's this, chalk on your hands?
Yeah, it's for the bars. You need the chalk for the bars, and then leotard just to wear.
So the chalk stuff this is expensive.
Very.
Yeah.
I mean, to refill it a few times a month was expensive, and then we didn't need shoes, but when you're on the team, you have to get a certain attire. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Because I was on the team, I was scouted to be on the club team, and because of the talent that I had for the floor and the bars for all the different skills. So to be on the team, you had to constantly pay for the new leotards that they're getting. You had to pay for new extra practice days. I would go in 3 times a week instead of just 1. So that I would pay, my mom was paying more per season because of that. So it was just a lot of fees, a lot of monthly costs that we couldn't keep up after like 3 years.
Yeah. So this is something that people, I think, should take seriously because there are many talented people in our community that simply don't get to do things because of money.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that you guys have a very supportive family. You have a mom who I met today who is obviously your biggest fan.
Yes.
And you've talked about your dad, who is a former educator who pushed you guys in education a lot. And so where did you both see yourselves early on?
For me, I think 8th grade was when I started focusing more on academics. I know that it was that year that they started offering high school classes. So I wanted to challenge myself, and I enrolled in those classes, living environment and algebra.
And algebra, yeah.
They started offering those classes to me in 8th grade. So that's when the rigor started increasing. I knew I had to put in more time to study. And I think that year is when I shifted my focus to academics.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually funny in 8th grade because I also shifted also, but I wasn't in all the honors.
Yeah.
And I started off not bad, but I started off not focused. And that's when 8th grade was a pivotal year for me because that's where I learned that I needed to focus in order to get anywhere. Gloria was in all the honors, but I wasn't in English honors for some reason. And I didn't like the feeling of being in regular, of being with students who just didn't care as much as me. And it's really important to have an environment where students also care. Because I know that when I was in that English class, everyone was just fooling around. And I actually liked the book. No one was reading, and you could tell. It was not a good environment to be in. So I realized from there I need to be in honors in order to learn. And I didn't like how Gloria would rub it in my face. I'm not in honors. And then 8th grade math, Algebra 1 was the first big jump for me in math. I was never really that great in math, but I would make an excuse. And I hear a lot of people say this too, that, oh, I'm just not good at math. And I feel like that's what I used to use. And that was not good at all because that made me get deeper into the hole that I can't do something and that I wouldn't study even more. And I was not getting the grades that I wanted. I was not doing well. But midway through the year, I noticed that when I started to put more effort and I stopped saying I can't do this, I just said, you're going to learn it either way. So I started to put more time into it. I started to do my own little Khan Academy videos and actually study on my own instead of relying on the teacher. And that's what got me far into math. And I realized from that point on that I needed to put in the work in order to get the grades that I needed and stop making excuses that I don't have the ability to do something just because I'm not good at it the first time.
I'm so appreciative that you were open enough to talk about your journey with math. I mean, first of all, this is therapy for other students who may be listening, young people. If you are struggling with something, keep going, and you will get better at it. That's what I heard. And so, it's wonderful because that 8th grade year, which I was asking about, kind of randomly wanting to know before high school, was there some focus? It sounded like the 8th grade year was actually a year that made a lot of difference for both of you.
Yeah, it's very important. I would also say the home dynamic changed a lot in 8th grade for us. We went from owning majority of our home to sectioning off some of it because of my father, who from that point on he was definitely getting more ill and his medical expenses.
Start at the beginning. Your father, I mean, you don't have to get into great detail,
Right.
but just say something to introduce what your father was experiencing.
Yes. Yeah. So in 2016, I think I started back 2013. He retired from teaching due to his illness, and then it just got worse and worse, and then the diagnosis started piling on, and then in 2016, that's when he filed for disability checks because he couldn't work at all, and then we started receiving the checks from Social Security, and then it just his condition kept getting worse, and that's.
8th grade was when we made dynamic changes in the home. So we started sectioning off sections to for Airbnb just so that we can raise more money for our mortgage every month because my father's income was reduced significantly to checks. So it was not ideal for us. And 8th grade was weird for me because I was used to, before in like 6th grade when he was getting sick, I still had his support per se, like emotionally. But I guess in 8th grade, he was ill to the point where he was dependent on us. So that shift was very hard for me, I guess. And it did affect my academics, but it was very hard to adjust to a new life where I was taking care of my father and a life where we didn't have enough money every month to be comfortable to pay for the mortgage and to do things. Yeah.
Kudos to your family for using what you have to get what you need. You had a home, and so you took the home and made it earn some money that was no longer there. That's resourceful, and it's beautiful. You guys really could have gotten very distracted with your father's illness, and it could have led you to flipping off now, but that's not what happened.
Exactly. I think that our circumstances really made us focus more because
Focus more.
we had less time to do other things. I know students after school, they're going to McDonald's and hanging out and doing all sorts of things, but I had to go home, help around the house, clean the rooms, help my father do my homework.
Yeah.
I had no time to fool around, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was what really made us focus more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say the same thing.
How did ninth grade feel starting off?
So ninth grade was questionable. When it started off, it didn't feel very new from eighth grade because the rigor I was experiencing in eighth grade was adopted in ninth grade with the classes. Geometry was difficult, but I knew how to study. Like from eighth grade, I dedicated, I told myself I'm going to study all summer before I go into the academic year so that I wouldn't struggle like I did in eighth grade. And that made a big difference. I noticed that when I studied in the summer, just looked up over the material. People made fun of me, actually. My friends at lunch were like, you already studied over the summer? Who does that? But I'm really glad I did. It helped me transition much better. I was in class, instead of learning the material, I was almost reinforcing the material. So ninth grade was not bad to start, but ninth grade was the year where COVID did happen in March. It shut down everything. It was really, it was not a great thing for me in the beginning because track was actually going very well. It was the first time I did track, like I said. We started track, and we made it to state championships, so I qualified. I think I was like the first freshman to do that in my high school in a long time for state championships, and I went. It was a great experience. I knew that I wanted to focus academically when track shut down, and then that's when our aspirations to become first in our class, I think, really started.
It really we had really nothing else to focus on or look at. When we were in quarantine, all we had was our books. There was no sports to do. We did get a job because we turned 14 in ninth grade, so we that opened up new jobs for us. So we got a job at McDonald's, worked there. But
In
also,
West Hempstead?
No, it was in Limbrook. They wouldn't hire us at 14 in West Hempstead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was annoying.
It was very hard to find a job at 14.
Oh, yeah, it was.
I don't know why. The job search took us months, and even the one at Limbrook was kind of hesitant for some reason, but they hire at 14.
You found a job during COVID.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We walked there. We wanted to have a job if we could walk because I know my mom has work and she's not really available to drop us off. So we settled on Limbrook, which is 2 miles away. So we walked the 2 miles to Limbrook and walked back.
To work at each time?
Yeah.
Well, when she wasn't here, we would do that.
Wow.
Yeah. We made it like
The
35
one
minutes.
on Merrick Road in
Yeah,
Limbrook.
yeah.
Wow. I mean, you guys are pretty exceptional. Walking 2 miles to work and on top of that, studying over the summer and trying to prepare yourself for ninth grade, which I imagine was a very challenging year.
Yeah.
The effect that COVID had on you guys is clear, that it actually focused you in more.
Yes.
But did you witness anyone in your peer group having a negative effect because of COVID?
Yeah, definitely. I would say they took it as a sign to just stop studying and do whatever they want. I know I would look at social media and they were doing they're not doing the right things. They had so much free time and no one was really on them. For class, it was either credit or no credit. So I know many people just didn't even look at their books. They just went the other way.
Yeah.
And I actually saw the effects when I went to sophomore year. The people who were best in the class or who were really next to us, they kind of deteriorated in a lower level and they were not on par with us anymore.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed it when I came back in sophomore year. It was very noticeable how people who just kind of relaxed and took it off, we were ahead of them. And at first, when we started in ninth grade, we predicted that they were the ones to get valedictorian. They were the ones who were going to get first in the class. But when we came back, it looked like it was weird because Gloria and I were ahead of them, and it was a sign that what was to come for now.
Yeah. So there's a shift because people, I think like you said it, Gloria, people said, well, I have freedom now.
Yeah.
And I don't, I'm not necessarily going to focus in. I'm going to relax a little bit. And there's a lot of talk about the learning loss that took place for many kids over that time.
I know for us, I felt I was a little behind in math, actually. When I was studying for the SAT, I had a really tough time because I just didn't know the material as well as I thought I would. And it's supposed to be the level that you're supposed to be. SAT math is supposed to be a level that you can do because you've learned it all throughout your elementary and middle school years. But it was still very difficult for me to learn the material. And I felt that SAT studying actually helped me become on par with math. And yeah.
Yeah, I would say like during the time of COVID and at-home learning, the academic integrity was not the best at all.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of cheating went on, and it was hard to look past it because all my friends were doing it, and it was not fair because I remember Algebra 2 was so annoying, because me and Gloria, we would come in every other day, so we were opted to take the test in school, and we know many people were getting hundreds by staying home, and we were like, that's not even fair, because we were getting like 94s. I mean, it's not bad, but it wasn't fair that people were taking the time to just cheat while we were really trying to stay honest with our academic work, and it was not fair.
94 feels very unfair when someone else got a 98 or 100.
Yeah,
And they, particularly if they didn't earn that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take it to 12th grade.
Yeah.
Here you are at the top of your class, taking, I imagine, AP classes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We took 12 throughout our whole high school career.
You took what?
12 AP classes.
12 AP classes?
Yeah.
My brain couldn't even. That is so great. So you both took the same AP classes?
Yes, we did.
Is it easy to name those?
Yes. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. AP World. AP
World History.
Yes. AP
Seminar.
Capstone Seminar. Then we took AP Research, AP Language, AP US History, AP Biology, and then we took AP Physics, AP Calculus, AP Computer Science, AP Spanish, AP Government,
AP Literature.
Jeez. I mean, what occurs to me is that when students leave high school, and I was just talking to a gentleman, a grown person who is in his 40s, who left high school as the valedictorian and went to UPenn, and he simply was unprepared to do the work at UPenn because he was a quote unquote a big dog at his high school setting. But the work he was doing didn't prepare him. But taking an AP research class and AP capstone, AP or both histories, sciences, maths. I mean, you guys are gonna be A-okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Yeah.
And so, tell me about your college application process.
Okay, so that was actually not typical for most students because we applied as athletes. We started in the summer, junior year summer. It was funny because we were debating whether or not we wanted to continue track in college for longest time.
I think we decided last minute, June, after nationals, when I was fourth finisher. I was like, maybe I'll do it in college. So let's look. And then
I guess so.
Yeah, maybe.
We were like, we'll go for it. Because we were almost nervous, like, are we even good enough to apply?
Yeah, we were really
doubting ourselves. And I'm glad that we actually went forward. Because I know maybe I could have said, let's just stick to academics.
I was going to wait. But then, I don't know, something inside me just said, just do it. Just look at the schools and try. So that July weekend, we emailed a bunch of coaches. We put our stats down, our SAT scores, our AP scores, everything down, and we actually got responses back, which was crazy.
Yeah. We were getting very serious with 6 schools, I believe, for the track program. The list we had, it was Princeton, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Tufts, Carnegie Mellon, and there's one more. Yale. Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh. And Yale. And Williams, yes. So we were able to narrow down our list. It was a really big list at first, but we narrowed it down by the responses, and those 6 schools or 7 schools replied back to us. And we set up visits for the school. It's called official visits in the fall, but over the summer we did unofficial. And we visited Harvard, visited Yale and Williams. But we ended up really liking Yale, especially for the coach. That was a big difference between every single school. It was not really the campus, or actually no, the campus too. But it was not necessarily the track program. It was the coaches. We noticed with Hopkins and Yale were very good coaches, but with Yale, we really noticed that he cared about the person, not the athlete. We know that a lot of coaches out there, especially on the D1 level or college level, competitive, they only care about your performance. Yeah, he really cared about our family situation and cared about how we're doing as a person, not just like what is she running. And that was a big difference from a lot of different coaches. So, and the campus was beautiful when we visited in August. And the coach, I noticed he took all his time to help us. At the visit, he stayed, I believe, 5 hours just to show us. He was there from like 1, and we left at 5, and he showed us the entire campus.
By himself. With Harvard, we were with a bunch of other potential recruits. But with Yale, he took his time to just do us as 2 people, and we went together with our sister. It was very nice.
You guys are kind of a big deal. He spent 5 hours with you guys. I mean, to spend those hours with you, he really wanted you guys at Yale. That's wonderful. You decided, Tufts was one of the schools. Did you get to visit?
No, I actually declined the official visit because by that point I already knew I wanted to go to Yale, and I knew that I didn't want to waste his time.
Yeah, that's the right thing.
Because the school has to pay for your transportation, the food, the staying, the room accommodation. So yeah, we didn't want to waste their money, and I felt bad knowing we want to go to Yale and wasting their money on us. Right.
No, that's the right thing. I mean, Tufts happens to be a school that I've become more aware of because I have a friend whose son is going there. But it's great. I mean, Yale is going to be a new experience for you. I certainly may want to talk to you guys after year 1.
See how much we changed.
Okay, now your dad is still having the illness happening, and you really like finding your high school ending and going into college. What are some of the things he's saying during this process?
I'm really glad he got to see all of it, because at one point last year I didn't know if he would make it. He was in a really bad position, but he was able to hear everything, and even though he can't audibly tell us what he wants to say, I know that he's listening. I know that he's definitely proud.
Taking it in.
Taking it all in. He knows how hard we worked, and it's funny because I think I have a video of me talking to him in November, and I was like, Dad, I really want to get valedictorian, like it's almost done. And he was like, and I saw him like close his eyes, and I could tell that he was really, really rooting for us. And when I was able to tell him, we ran in the room. It was really funny what we did. We played like music, and we ran in his room. Like, we're valedictorian. And he was like out of the moon happy. He was smiling like crazy. I loved how he got to hear it, got to see it, the joy. We got to share it with him. So I believe he's very proud of us. I think from all of this, his hard work, and even though he's in the position he's in now, the hard work that he put in definitely paid off, and he could tell that. So even though he's not with us right now to celebrate, he felt the joy that we felt when we heard all of it. Yeah,
absolutely. So now there is the big day coming up within months where you'll actually have to move into Yale. Have you met other people besides your coach that you've connected with at Yale?
Oh yeah, definitely. We went to Accepted Students Day in April, like 28th. It was very nice. We met a lot of cool people outside of athletics, and
the funny part of the whole trip was we were known as the New York twins, apparently. Even the chefs at Yale, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I saw you on the ABC News. Can I take a picture with you?" I'm like, "Whoa, this is very crazy."
Funny. Yes.
But yeah, we connected with a lot of cool people at Yale, especially the teammates we're gonna be with. They are very caring and nice. They have no hesitation to help you or make you comfortable. So I'm really excited to enter Yale.
Yeah, and I'm excited to in college we're going to separate dorms. So I'm excited to have like a new experience without like living with my twin and being known as a twin all the time. Having the experience to have a separate group of friends, separate group of like interests instead of sharing everything.
Yeah.
And separate clothes too, because we share
It's
everything.
yeah, it's really something because having a twin is beautiful, but at the same time, people see you as almost one entity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the person that comes to my mind is a student that I had who she didn't even have a twin. She had 6 sisters,
Wow.
and she was one of my valedictorians in the past, and people kind of looked at her as part of this unit. But even though you love your sisters,
Yeah.
there is a separate identity. It's not just I'm part of a crew or part of a twin group. It's I'm a person and my sister's a person, and we have an unbreakable bond. But you're still separate people.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about what the finances look like for college. Is Yale covering you fully, or how is that?
Yeah, so Yale was very generous with their aid, but there is still like a parent share and a student share that we have to cover. We've been applying to scholarships and essays, and we got a few hundreds here and there. So we're excited to see how much we took in out, but there's still a share that we have to pay.
You and your family are very positive in the way you approach the financial stuff through high school. And now you sound very forthright and brave about going into this new phase, even with the challenges. Have you set up anything where if people want to help you as 2 students going into financial responsibility, especially in light of your father not being able to contribute as he would, have you set up anything so that people can help?
Yes, I believe a few months ago, my cousins actually set up a GoFundMe. Her name is Tanya. She has it, and I have a link also. I could share it, but we have that as a resource.
Okay, excellent. I am just getting to meet you guys, but I am so proud
Thank you.
that you guys are doing wonderful things and that you're on the next leg, almost at the next leg of your journey.
Yes.
That's exciting.
So if people do want to reach you on social media, people of goodwill who would like to help in this situation, how could they reach you?
Yes, so I have Instagram, and you can find me at Vicky, it's VICKYY 650.
Yes, and mine is real Gloria _ Guerrier.
Your community should be very proud of you. And what other platforms have you guys been on? I know there's been a couple of. I listened to a little NPR piece. And what else have you guys been on?
Okay, it's hard to name all of it, but let's see. We've been on CNN, ABC, Fox, The Sherry Show,
GoodMorningAmerica.com.
NBC Now Live. What other one was live?
Yeah.
ABC's Here Now interview.
USAtoday.com.
GoodMorningAmerica.com.
I said that.
Oh, you said that already?
There was a list. At one
Yeah.
point, we couldn't even track who was covering us because
the Haitian media also.
A lot of
was
Haitian
very,
media.
I was thinking that.
Haitian media. There's a Haitian radio called it's called IET Premier Class. It's like a big broadcasting outlet for Haitians, and we appeared on there. There's other couple ones.
Haiti Union Suit.
Yes.
Yeah,
And on our
sorry.
Instagram, we were on that one. A lot of here and there. We didn't track everything,
Yeah,
but
no, that's good. You gave a good overview. I am very happy to have had you guys here. We'll keep up with you over time. Like, subscribe, share, all of the above. Help to Adjust presents the If Testimony Was a Person podcast. Peace and love. We will connect.